Grant Cardone here. Have you ever wondered how people buy this? Like my whole life, I have been just super intrigued by the wealthy, the people that buy the jet, that live the life. Like, I used to watch these homes on the ocean. I'm like, who owns that home? Who owns that jet? How did they do it? How did they buy it? And I created a training. I spent 35 years codifying what it takes to go from nothing, where I started. I remember when I could not afford one night, not one night in a hotel. Not even this nice, and it changed in a second, and it can for you too. Literally, look, just take a look here. Having the girl, okay? The hot chick, great wife,
thank you.
Beautiful kids, even a cowgirl, okay?
The cat sat in my hat.
I got 2 kittens on board. We're traveling across the country. The family's gonna go out for a little vacay. I'm gonna be doing some work while I'm out there, but while I'm out there, I wanna help you get what you want. It might not be a jet, maybe it's not a yacht, I don't know, whatever it is. You deserve to have that. And I have laid out a training step by step, so simple. Regardless of where you are right now, you're in debt, you don't have any money, maybe you don't even have a job. Click the link below. I'm going to give you this training for free. I wish somebody would have done this for me. I simplify wealth. I simplify how to get money, what to do with it once you get it, and how to multiply it. The most important lesson, how do you multiply it so that someone else, maybe you were serving, someone else you were working for, that money that you received, you learn how to multiply it so that money works harder than you do. And who knows, maybe you don't get the jet, maybe you don't get the girl, okay? Maybe you don't even want the kids. Maybe you don't want the kids or the kittens, but you get to choose, okay? Click the link below. I want to give you this free training. It's absolutely free. Best part, it's free. Second best part, it will show you step by step what you have to do to get the life you deserve.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy JG here on another episode of Young Hustlers on the Cardone Zone. Super pumped about the show today because I'm going to be talking about something that a lot of people may be doing without thinking about it. You know, it's one of those like subconscious things that you just do. But if you don't really know why you're doing something, then it's sometimes hard to figure out how to do it at another level. And it all revolves around this formula for making money called the AAR Formula. This is very simple and straightforward. I try to keep things super straightforward on the show because this is the show where I try to take things that I've learned in our business from Grant over the last 10 years and just communicate to people no matter where you're at, whether you're just getting started or you have a business and you're trying to kind of get it to the next level, or maybe you're super successful. But this is the AAR formula. It's the ways that you make money in your business. And so I'm going to share that with you today. If you have any questions, call the show, 305-865-8668, 305-865-8668. So I'm going to talk to you about these 3 things today, and they all have to do with how money comes through either you as an individual or as you're a business owner through your company. And you know, as you kind of put each of these different categories into buckets to really maximize the profitability of your company or the revenue or the sales, or vice versa, if you're an individual, if you're a salesperson somewhere and you want to kind of think, how can I make more money? I think that's probably a question that most people want to know the answer to. And this just provides a little bit more of a visual way for me to think about it rather than this big kind of blob of business. It allows me to kind of compartmentalize where you put your attention and focus, and then when you get kind of that little compartment of focus, you can start building strategy around that to figure out how to do that one thing at a higher level, and then the next thing at a higher level, and the next thing at a higher level. So it's called the AAR formula. This is not a super scientific approach to making money. This is a very simple way to think about making money. I mean, if you want to make more money, I think That's probably like the prerequisite, is you actually have to be in agreement that you want to make more money. So a lot of times people focus on like one part of this. I think probably the majority of people focus on one part of this. Some people's business is only set up to leverage one of these or two of these. But when you get all three in alignment and you got all three cranking and you have commitment in all three of these lines of this formula, it really starts to multiply your efforts and your results. And again, this is all about money. We have a free training right now on money, 4 things that Grant learned that changed his life about money forever. We want to share them with you. If you go to 10xwebclass.com, you can enroll for free, absolutely free, no strings attached. It's a live training that Grant did on money, and the reviews, the results, everything that the feedback coming out of this web class have truly been game-changing and life-changing for a lot of people. So check that out, 10xwebclass.com. Okay, so AAR Formula. Okay, this is all about how to make money. Again, keep in mind, if you're an individual, you need to look at it from the individual perspective. If you're a company, then you need to figure out how you can implement all 3 of these buckets into your business. So step 1 of the AAR formula, the one flow of revenue or money into your business, one flow of income into your bank account, is through acquisition. This is what a lot of people spend a lot of their time on. The majority of their time on acquisition. Now, acquisition is an individual means I'm going out to get a deal. Acquisition as a company means I'm going out to get a customer. You're going to bring something in that's new, okay? And when you think about business, that's typically the first place people go. I got to get a new customer. I got to get a new customer. I got to get a new customer. And so they develop marketing plans and strategies and cold call scripts and warm call scripts and lead scripts, and they build all of these components or elements of their business or their job around getting a new customer. Now, acquisition is actually the hardest step of the 3 things that I'm going to share with you today. I don't know if you guys can see my Spider-Man Band-Aid. Can you guys see my Spider-Man Band-Aid? I cut myself this morning, and Jake wanted to make sure that I had a superhero on my Band-Aid because it would heal faster. So thanks, Jake. So acquisition, this is the first step. Going to acquire somebody new. This is going to be done through, again, marketing and advertising. This is going to be done through knocking on doors. This is going to be done, I mean, in every either business or as a sales professional, acquisition is the thing that you live and breathe and die by. Acquisition is the hardest thing of the 3 things that I'm going to share with you today. Again, it's where most people put 90% of their focus. Conversion rates on acquisition are the lowest of the 3 things that I'm going to share. But ultimately, you have to have a customer in the ecosystem if you want to do anything else with them, right? So acquisition is the first thing, okay? Now, what is your strategy for acquisition? Keep in mind, if you want to maximize income, if you want to maximize revenue and sales, these are the 3 ways that revenue and sales come into a business. These are the 3 ways that revenue and sales come into an individual's pipeline, okay? So what's your strategy for this? How many lines are you using out in the water? The more lines that you have in the water, the higher the likelihood is that you're going to catch a fish. I always talk about the fishing analogy. Okay, you're on a little fishing boat. They got this little thing up here, got a little windshield. You know, you're on the fishing boat, right? Does that look like a fishing boat? Kind of looks like an ark. And when you go out, they have all these freaking... they got the big booms or whatever you call those things. And there's lines going into the water everywhere. They got 9 or 10 lines in the water, right? So for acquisition, this could be phones. This could be social. This could be ads. This could be TV. This could be radio. Like you have all these lines that are going out into the universe, trying to bring you in new business, okay? And this right here can be so overwhelming for people because it's so big. Like I'm going to go out into this population of hundreds of millions of people and I'm going to try to get new customers. So the pro of this is you're getting new customers all the time. You're marketing, you're promoting your business, you are adding new customers into your ecosystem. You're touching all these different mediums, so hopefully you're accessing different people. Some of these acquisition strategies are paid. Like it costs money to run ads. It costs money to run commercials. It costs money to do radio ads. It costs money to send direct mail out to people. The marketing push behind all of these things, this acquisition requires heavy sales and heavy marketing. Because again, you're going out into a massive, massive population of people, whether it's a customer database, whether it's an industry, and God only knows if these people even know you or not, right? So this is why business is hard for a lot of people, because they focus so much on acquisition, and it's a very, very complicated thing to master. Some people do really well with it. Some people can figure it out. The businesses that do really well, the biggest companies in the world are leveraging a lot of different strategies to acquire new customers. But the biggest companies in the world would not be where they're at today if they only relied on acquisition of customers. And so this is where a lot of people stop, because they're like, man, this is so hard. There's so many things going on here that require my attention. I'm constantly pounding the phones and training my team, and we're hiring and firing and moving through social people because they can't get it right. And then I've been bouncing all over the place between people buying ads because somebody took a course online and they said that they could run ads, and then they blew 15 grand and wasted all my money. And then do people even watch TV anymore? Like, there's so many different little veins or buckets that you're going to fall into trying to acquire customers. And it's so complicated that most people lock into one thing and they just play there. They get the result here. They're like, hey, we're just going to use social. We're just going to use Instagram. We're going to figure this one thing out. And in some cases, people can, I think this will communicate the magnitude and the size of the marketplace. Some people can rely on only one of these channels, which again, that limits your audience. If IG is the only thing that you use, you know how many millions of people are not using Instagram every day? And how many people aren't there and will never be there? Like, it's the numbers are gargantuan. And because the numbers are so big, in some cases you can get away with doing just one of these things. But we're always thinking about how we can do more. How can we reach more people? How can we have a bigger impact? How can we profit more, grow more sales, get more people our products, right? So we're constantly looking about how to do more. Can you guys agree that more is a good thing right now? Can you agree that more money would probably be a good idea? You don't have to have a lot, but a little bit, right? More is a good thing. And so again, the purpose of pointing out these buckets is so that you can have a categorized strategy for each of these things. These are the same questions that we're asking every day. How do we, if we wanted to double the revenue of the company, where are we going to get it from? We could just go, hey, we're going to do twice as much acquisition. But again, acquisition rates, I think the stat that I read, your conversion rates on acquisition are between 5 and 20%. Very expensive to acquire customers. And some of the largest marketing organizations in the world, what they'll say is the customer that can pay the most, the person that can pay the most to acquire a customer will win. And based on whatever the product is that you're selling is worth, sometimes for our corporate clients, we could pay $1,500, $2,000 to acquire a customer. That's a lot of money. Automotive dealerships, cars, they spend $300 to $600 to acquire a customer. So every time you buy a car, it took $300 to $600 just to get somebody to come into the dealership to buy that. And every industry has a similar statistic. So step one is acquisition. This is the first A of the AAR money formula, acquisition. Step two is ascension. Ascension. Man, it looks like I'm jumping on a trampoline right in this. Is that spelled right? I never spelled good anyways. So ascension. So moving people up. This is also this could also be selling people more stuff. So like if somebody comes in from us and they buy a webinar for $49, right? So if they start with us for $49, now what we have to do is we have to figure out, under the ascension strategy, we have to figure out how to ascend them up our product line, right? What's the next step? Is it $497? Is it $997? Is it $2,500? Is it $10K for a mastermind or coaching? Like, we have to move the customer up. Now, this is a completely separate strategy for making money, because now we're not talking to a new customer. We're talking to an existing customer, and we're trying to figure out how to get them to spend more money with us. So in a lot of cases, businesses now, Ascension, you can also look at that as just sell more product too. Sell more. Move people into like a subscription or a recurring purchase. Like you'll see in some businesses, like Vitamin Shop, for example. Like if you go in there and you buy supplements, then they'll be like, hey, do you want to get this on auto ship? Right? So they're trying to sell you more stuff and have the future business guaranteed. They're trying to sell more stuff. So for us, Ascension means, how do we get somebody in at free or $49 and sell them more stuff, right? We want to move them through the different products within our ecosystem. This is also, Ascension also for an individual could mean, how do you move somebody, like as a sales guy in the back? As a business owner, you want to have an Ascension track. So if you are starting a business right now, if you're a solopreneur, if you're a small business owner and you've got one product to sell people, you're missing out on a lot of revenue. Here's why. Because the conversion rate on Ascension, remember what I told you the conversion rate on acquisition was? 5 to 20%. The conversion rate on Ascension is 60%. So if you sell somebody a product and you do a good job, there's a 60% chance that they'd spend more money with you. Yeah. So like now you start thinking, oh man, hey, this is a different way for me to monetize my business. Or as a salesperson, man, I want to sell this customer more stuff. So for a salesperson in the back, and I'll just use that as an example. So they will we sell sales training to companies. That's our business. That's like the big stable part of our business is we have a big team of salespeople, and all they do all day is they call business owners who are looking to grow their business, and we say, hey, your business isn't going to grow unless your people are good. We can teach your people how to be great so we can get your business growing faster. So that first initial call would be the acquisition call. Okay? Now, once that customer is, they sign a 12-month contract with us to do sales training. They sell it. We sell them a 12-month contract. Now what we want to do is we want to ascend them to additional products. Okay? Move up and kind of move up in the package of the product. Ascend could also it could just mean sell more stuff. So Ascend could also be an event ticket. Guys sell this. The guys sell these all the time back there. Event tickets. It could also be coaching. It could also be a one-on-one with Grant. It could also be a ticket to 10x 360, right? These are one-time purchases, right? But we're getting the customer to spend more money. So the first step is acquiring the customer in the first place. We want to sign them up. We're going to get them on a 12-month contract. This bills every month. Whoa, look at that. It's like a waterfall. You see that? That was cool. Yeah, that was cool. The second thing is we want to figure out how we can ascend the customer, how we can get them to invest more money in their team and themselves for education. Okay? So for a salesperson, what they need to be thinking with, number one, first sale, let me get the customer on the contract. Then what they need to do is they need to think about, okay, well, what else could this customer invest in that would be of high value to them, that would get them the result that they're looking for faster, that would get them more access, that would get them more information, that would get them new information. Like what are the other things that we can pack onto this initial decision here to support it? Right? So we have a whole product lineup of stuff. Now, if you don't have these things, I promise you're missing out on a really easy sale, because remember, close rate on Ascension is 60%. Acquisition, 5% is probably more in line. It said 5 to 20%. But I don't know, probably 3 to 5% is your true acquisition rate when you got kick-ass marketing. So 3 to 5 out of 100 people are going to convert for the first time on acquisition, and 60 people out of every 100 that you can make a customer, 60 people will buy more stuff from you. And here at this level, you don't have any cost of acquisition. So when you acquire a customer here, you typically have to spend money, energy, time, effort, creativity to acquire the customer, right? That's why conversion rates are the lowest and the acquisition costs are the highest at this first step, because you have to get the customer into your ecosystem. You have to acquire the customer. You got to make 100 calls to get the one customer. You got to make 13 calls in order to get the customer to call you back. Then you got to make the demo. Then you got to make 12 follow-up calls. There's a lot of work that goes into getting a customer the first time, right? This was one of the things that once I figured this out, it was like a light bulb. And I hadn't even gotten to the third step yet. Because I was like, wait a second. All I've been doing is focusing all my energy and efforts on blowing up the phones, landing a customer, but there's only so many times you can do that. There's only so much time in the day that you can just slam calls. And then what happens? And then 12 months later, your contracts start expiring. And if you didn't do a good job with the customer, then they cancel. And now you got to go get a new customer to replace that one. You got to go after another low percentage converting, high cost of effort customer. So I'm figuring all this stuff out in my own business as a sales guy working for Grant. That's really why I'm sharing this with you, is because if you guys have the opportunity to take a step back in your business and say, okay, what am I doing to acquire a customer? Once I get the customer, what am I doing to sell them more money? Because it's the easiest sale you're going to make. The conversion rate is 60%. Imagine if 60 out of every 100 customers on the front end, when you're trying to get a new customer, imagine if you were selling a product that made you $1,000 and all you had to do was talk on the phone to 100 out of 100 people, 60 people would say yes, and you'd make 60 grand. Dude, these guys talk to probably conversations on cold calls. Maybe they talk to 60 people every 3 days. Maybe. Let's say they talk to 20 people a day. Dude, that's 60, that's a lot of freaking jack. But that ain't what the number is. That ain't what the number is on the front end. That's what the number is once you already get them. Most salespeople overlook this opportunity right here, and it costs them so much money. This requires 20x less work, and it's a higher profitability sale. It requires no time. Like, that's why when we go back and Grant's like, dude, you got to have inventory. We got to create a lot of products for the sales team. We got to continue creating new products. And if you're a business owner, you have to continue to create new products because you have an existing database of customers that it's a 60% close rate will buy more stuff from you. And if you don't have anything else to sell them, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go somewhere else and they're going to spend their money with somebody else. So acquisition is the hardest. You got to do it. You can't get around it. You have to acquire a customer in order to do anything else with them. Once you acquire the customer, now you have to have additional products to sell them so that you can make the customer more valuable to you. And assuming you're creating great products, that's always kind of like the the common denominator. Like you always have to deliver a great service and you have to have a great product. Because if you don't, then the whole model starts breaking. So acquisition, step 1. Step 2 is ascension. And then step 3 is retention. So you keep the customer coming back. You keep the customer your customer. The customer doesn't buy a hat from us. Acquisition would be selling the hat, okay? Ascension would be taking the hat purchase and selling them a planner, selling them a course, selling them an event. That would be ascension. But if we stop having inventory for them to sell, if we stop selling them products, then guess what? They're like, oh, I need another hat. Maybe we stop making hats. And they're like, I need another hat, but they haven't created a new hat for me. And then they're on Instagram and they see some USA flag with an eagle on it that's wings on fire, like breathing, like a dragon, but like an eagle with the American flag in the back. America. And they're like, I'm going to buy that hat. We just lost the customer. And if that company that they bought that hat from has a lot of different hats, and they keep selling the customer hats, and they don't give the customer a reason to go somewhere else, then they're going to retain the customer for a longer period of time. And so again, let me just break this down for me. Step 1 was acquisition, and this was the contract. I had to get the initial sale. Step 2 was the ascension, which is sell more stuff to the customer, get them to invest more with you. And then step 3 is retention. When I sell that contract and it's a 12-month contract or a 24-month contract or a 36-month contract, if that customer doesn't renew after 12 months, I don't retain that customer. And if a customer is paying $1,500 a month, and I get paid $150 a month from that deal, if the customer kills their contract, then I stop getting paid my $150 a month off that deal. The customer churns. So what happens is you end up looking at these 3 points and you go, okay, we have acquisition. What's our strategy for that? Social, email, personal visits, cold calls, paid ads on traditional media, paid ads on social, handwritten letters, direct mail, whatever. Like you have all these different strategies for acquiring a customer. You have a marketing process, and then that drives them to a sales process. And then that equals a customer. Right? Now, what's your plan for ascension? Once you make them a customer, let's say you sign up a customer today. You need to have a plan, assuming you have something else that they can purchase from you. You need to have a plan for when product 1 gets offered, when product 2 gets offered, when product 3 gets offered. There has to be a sequence in how you move the customer, and there needs to be enough thought behind it to where you go, hey, if the customer bought salt, there's a good chance that they might also need pepper. Amazon does this. Target does this. Walmart does this. Most e-commerce stores do this. But do you know that it's happening? When customers bought this, they also bought that. That is immediate ascension of the customer. They're increasing the value of the customer. Increased value of the customer means more revenue for the company. More revenue for the company means more profit for the company. So you have to ascend the customer if you want to increase profitability. And again, your conversion rate on an ascension purchase is dramatically higher. And again, if you spend $1,000 to acquire the customer to spend $5,000, now when we ascend them to $500, I have $500 of virtual pure profit that I'm adding to the customer's value. So now I start thinking, as I'm going through, and I'm doing as many deals as I possibly can. I'm on the phone 6 days a week working crazy hours so I can sell the East Coast and West Coast, and I'm killing the acquisition piece. And then what happens is the customers start canceling. I'm like, shit. Like I'm doing all this work, 50 calls to get a customer, and then they fall out the back because I didn't have a strategy for retention. So what does retention mean? In my business, in keeping a customer on contract, this is a great for services business. This model works beautiful for services. If you work in pest control, or you work in HVAC or plumbing, let's see, who else? Pool services. Like, you want to keep the customer coming back. I didn't have a plan for this. So then what I had to do was I had to start building into my daily activities. What am I doing to keep a customer? And there's actually stats on keeping a customer. I sat through a call, and they went through a really brilliant demonstration of this. And they broke these 3 things down to contribution to net revenue of the company. And acquisition was like 3%, ascension was like 14%, and retention was like 9%. So like we focus so much time and energy on bringing a customer in, and then we don't do anything with them to sell them more product, and then we don't have a plan to keep them happy, keep them using the program, making sure that they are thinking about us all the time. Like if you sell somebody a product that they buy once every 3 years, and they don't buy from you after 3 years, then you lost the customer. What are you going to do from their purchase today till their next purchase to keep in front of them so that they actually purchase from you? This happens with realtors. This happens with mortgage brokers. Things that have a long sales cycle happens with cars all the time. If you are not staying in front of your customer and you're not relevant to them, and they don't feel you, then you're going to lose the customer. And then you got to start the whole thing all over again. So which of these are most important? All of them. All of them. And so when I started thinking about retention, I was like, okay, I got to start. I had all my customers I put in a separate group, not a group text, but I put them in a separate group to where I'd go through and literally I'd leave my office. This was when we were in LA, and I'd leave my office for lunch. And every stoplight I went to, we were in LA, so there was a bunch of stoplights everywhere. And they weren't short stoplights either, especially that one on Wilshire. It was nasty. But dude, I'd just start banging out text messages. I'd start with A, and I'd get to a stoplight. I'd start with A. I'd be like, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? How can I help you? What's new? Can I do something for your team? Blah, blah, blah. And I'd slam that text message out to like 15 people. And then I'd get to the next stoplight, and I'd be banging out text messages. And I would touch customers all the time. And it built a relationship with them. And in my mind, I think that because I didn't forget about them, because I was always on them, because I was there when they needed me, because I was being proactive and not reactive, even when they weren't using the program like they should have, even when their result may have been less than it was 6 months ago because they stopped using it as much, they kept on the program. I retained the customer because I served them. And that required energy, and that required effort. It required a plan. So I really wanted to just cover this because as we're thinking about how to grow our business, like at the time I was doing this, I was making 150 grand a year. And now we're running a company doing 9 figures, and we're like, how do we grow to the next level? It boils down to these 3 things. How are you going to acquire a new customer? How are you going to ascend them to purchase or invest multiple things in the organization? And then what are you going to do to keep them? You got to have a plan for all of these. And now some of you may just do this on your own. You're like, oh, I got to get a customer, and then, man, what else can we sell them? But for me, it like opened my eyes when somebody actually blocked them out and goes, you acquire the customer, you sell them more stuff, and then you do whatever possible to keep the customer, because if you have to go get a new customer, that requires that you spend money. So it costs, and again, if you look at cost difference between acquisition and retention, You could actually just Google that, I'm sure. What's the difference in cost between acquiring a new customer or retaining one? Let's see what they say. Acquiring a new customer can cost 5 times more than retaining an existing customer. Increasing customer retention by 5% can increase profits from 25 to 90%. The success rate of selling to a customer you already have, Ascension, is 60 to 70%, while the success rate of selling to a new customer is 5 to 20%. I think it's lower than that. I think it's 3 to 5%, maybe less. But those are the numbers. So like if you're stopping at acquisition and you don't have a plan for these other 2 things, you're leaving so much money on the table. And we do that. We look at this all the time. Like when we build our sales funnels out, like if you stop at the first sale, we're typically paying so much to acquire a customer that after we pay the ad costs or any fulfillment costs, less cost of the product, we're losing money. And that's why Ascension's so important, because now I can go after new customers and lose money so long as I continue to sell them new stuff and I get them to continue buying. As a salesperson, you do so much work to acquire a customer. So much work to acquire a customer. But then you never ask them if there's anything else that they want to buy from you. You don't follow up on it. You need to have a map. So I want you, at the end of the show today, I want you to take a few minutes, and hopefully you're in a situation where you have multiple things you can sell somebody, your customer. Like you need to go, when I close a deal on a customer, what is my plan for selling them more stuff? And laid over the top of that, you're going to have a retention plan. So my retention plan is going to be follow-up, it's going to be re-education, it's going to be upgrade of services, it's going to be enhancement of services, it's going to be like, what is your retention plan? So for one of the sales guys on our team, acquisition plan is slam social, slam phone calls, call back leads, send handwritten letters, send videos. Like they have a whole mapped out strategy for acquisition. Now, if you can actually layer in together retention and ascension, following up with the customer all the time, letting them know that we have a mastermind coming up in Denver in 2 weeks. They're normally $50K. We're doing this one for 10. It's a great opportunity to get in front of Grant with 25 people and ask him any question that you want about your business and how you can grow, or real estate or whatever. Then what is that? Is that retention plan? Hey, typically about this point, 30 days in, 60 days in, 90 days in, people start getting focused on other things in their business. And this is actually the most important time for you to focus on this, because this is the make break point. This is where people win with the product. So I'm going to do a complete relaunch of the program, jack your people up, get you re-engaged, remind your people the value of the program and what it could do for them. What are you doing to keep the customer engaged? Retention's about engagement. And so like all these little personal touches, we're working on a massive program right now, a massive plan for acquisition and retention. We're going to have such a big investment in our organization for ascension and retention of customers, because we're making a huge investment in personnel to make sure that when we acquire a customer, they know about the other things that we have to offer, and we're going to be in enough constant communication from a service perspective to where they're not going to want to cancel or go anywhere. So I hope if you're a salesperson or an individual, this makes sense to you, because this was a thing for me. It was like, oh my gosh, I could take a customer that I would normally make, I'd sell them a product. Of course, they're crushing it. They're getting 10x, 20x, 50x return on their investment. I can take a customer that's crushing it that I made $500 off of, sell them something else, sell them something else, sell them something else, sell them something else over the next 2 years, and that $500 commission was now worth $5,000. And because I served them throughout the way, products are what help people. More services what help people. That's how you keep a customer retained. You continue to sell them things that are of benefit to them. You continue to service them, right? Give them attention and love. That keeps people connected to you and engaged. And then I go, man, now and then if I retain a customer, I can build a base faster. So, subscription models, this is like, for a subscription model, this is the holy grail, like figuring out these three things. So if you have some type of group, if you have a product that you sell a subscription to, if you have a membership site, you have anything where people are paying on a monthly basis, cable companies, oh my gosh, they do a terrible job at Ascension. They come in once, they go, hey, what packages do you want? I mean, it's such a lazy Ascension deal. Do we have any? Yeah? Okay. Let's go to some callers.
We got Jason from Atlanta.
Jason, what's going on, man? Thanks for calling the show.
Hey, what's up, Jarrod? How you doing?
Good, brother. What's your question today?
Dude, hey, this might be one of the most important videos you've done, by the way.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. So I got an aerial photography business that I started a couple months ago, and we're getting to the point now where we're doing the Ascension type stuff, so offering different products and following up with people to get more follow-up business. I'm just trying to figure out how I can blow this thing up exponentially because it's really slow right now.
Yeah, so we've done a few shows about this, particularly with the whole COVID thing that was going down. And really what you have to start looking at is packaging of your product. Do you have something that people will buy? Like are you selling to like realtors?
Yeah, commercial guys.
Yeah. So then is it typically a one-time purchase for them, or is it something that they purchase kind of as needed?
They purchased it as needed, and then I try to follow them up with different properties.
Yeah, so like an as-needed purchase is a great candidate to put together an offer where they get a discount. So like a bundled offer. So if, let's say, for example, you have a realtor who is going to have you do some footage of a house they're trying to sell or something, but that's something that they do regularly. Then if you would charge, let's just say, $250 for the job, then you could say something like, hey, this one deal's $250, but if you go ahead and if you want to invest today, if you can invest today $500 or $750, it's all made up. You have to just decide whatever you're good with. We'll do 4 sessions for you. And demonstrate enough value in that offer to where they're like, oh yeah, I'll definitely do that. How many times have you done a deal like that where, like, the grocery store is awesome at this? Like, they're like, buy one thing of peanuts for $2 or buy one, get one free for $3. And you're like, oh man, I'm getting the other one for, and then you look at the fine print in the bottom and you really didn't have to buy 2 because you were going to get the same price no matter what. They just said buy one, get one free. You know what I mean? But that's a great opportunity to do that, is bundle. But you got to figure out, you're going to have to figure out with the customer how much you need to give them for them to say yes. And that may only be, like, right now you're like, dude, it's slow. You're creating an offer based on what's going on in your business right now. This may be something that you pull off the table 6 months from now, because then you go from being slow to having like so much business that you can't keep up with it. And so this is really kind of a pivot for you in your business, a temporary pivot, an audible rather than like a long-term strategy. What you may want to look at is the other services that you can add on to the additional purchase. And you would want to do those at the time that you were making the transaction. So they say, hey, I want to get these pictures of this building or this house. Okay, great. Here's the deal. It's $250. What other people like to do when they do this is they also want to get they want to upgrade to 4K footage rather than, HD, or in addition to that, they want us to go ahead and upload the video to a YouTube channel, or I don't know, but you got to figure out how to package on some other things that are connected to the purchase that they're likely going to do anyways. So think with like, okay, what are they going to do on top of this? What are they going to do on top of getting this video shot?
Right.
You know?
Okay, and a lot of people are like, yeah, we already have an aerial guy. How would you go about sort of poaching them?
Yeah, you know, it all comes down to your pitch at that point. So, you know, if somebody's already working with somebody else, then there's, you know, we actually teach like word tracks and objection handling techniques to get past that.
Okay.
But ultimately, it's just going to come down to an offer that you can make. So, you know, most people, we're already working with a training company. We hear that all the time. Completely understand. Most of the folks that we're working with are already working with a training company. And what does this also tell you? This also tells you that they're a target customer. It would be better to have somebody that already had a guy for aerial than it would be to sell to somebody who didn't think that they needed aerial. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, totally.
Because then you already know that they're in market for your product. They're currently having that need satisfied by somebody. And so people actually will like shy away from that deal. They'll just give up. They'll be like, oh, you're already using somebody else. But now you just need to start pivoting and thinking, okay, well, first of all, agree with them. Completely understand most of the folks that we talk to are already working with an aerial guy or gal or whatever. But what we found is this, and then you got to move into a value prop. We use higher technology equipment. We turn around is quicker. Rather than giving you raw footage, we give you an edited file, a reel. Like maybe you had a video component on the back of it, and you go through and you help them actually create the virtual walkthrough that they're doing, and you're able to provide both in your aerial services for half of what they would pay for aerial, and then a separate editing guy to do the whole job.
Man, I can't believe I didn't think of that.
So it's
That's
just
awesome.
like how do you skin the cat? And you just got to start looking at it from different angles. And again, if somebody can say yes to one person for 5 things rather than have to deal with a bunch of other people, they will do it.
Oh, totally.
They will do it. So look at your customer that you sell to the majority of the time. Look at the service that you provide them and think about all of the other things that they're going to have done while they're doing that. While they're doing that thing that they're doing. They're listing their house or they're listing the building or whatever.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Cool? Thanks for the call, bro. All right, who we got next?
Alan in New York.
Alan?
In New York.
Okay. Alan, what's going on?
Hey, Jarrod, how are you?
I'm good, brother. Thanks for the call.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So thanks for, doing the show. Great video so far, and thanks for taking the time to answer our questions. I just wanted to ask you a really quick question. So you and Grant always talk about, getting a sales job, saving the money and eventually investing in real estate. But before we can actually get to the accession part, what is an actual good sales job where, it's uncapped and there's growing potential. You can earn as much money as long as, you're actually performing.
Yeah, so that's probably the most common question that I get. And the truth is that there's two sides of this. So that you have the income, the compensation piece, and then you have the industry piece. So when you're looking for a sales job, the thing that you want to look for is you want to look for a transaction. When you're getting started, this is my advice to you. When you're getting started in sales, look for something that has high transaction volume. So probably you could look at cell phone stores. You could look at cars are relatively high. That's why you end up like automotive. A lot of great salespeople end up coming through automotive at some point because the velocity of sales, the volume of transactions that are happening throughout the month, plus the value of the transaction, it's just a really good exercise in negotiating, selling, working a pipeline, because the sales cycles are typically your pipeline cycle from, first touch of the customer to a sale. It's not like 6 months or 8 months. Houses are similar. Like you're on the high end. It's the biggest purchase people make. They buy the house, so the value's the highest. The velocity of transactions is a little slower. Solar's a good one. HVAC sale, any type of sales in the contracting home services space, home renovations, remodeling. Those are sales where you're in the $5,000 to $50,000 range. So if you're looking for, hey, I want to get into a sales job, look less for, hey, what's going to be that perfect thing, and look at what can you get from it. Like our sales team, that's not a simple sales cycle. It's hard to get the customer. Once the customer sees it, it's not always something they can say yes to right away. So there's just a little bit more friction, but the value of the deal is there. And because the value's there, the commission's there. So let's take the bucket of what industry to pick and kind of put that on one side. The second piece is compensation. Comp plans are going to vary by most companies that you go to are going to have a different way of slicing it. Network marketing companies have, uncapped comp plans. It's just based on your work, but typically compensation per transaction is really low, so the volume has to be really high. So you're constantly balancing these two things of volumes versus commissions, or volumes versus profits. So you're trying to find, hey, where do I get the biggest bang for my buck? And it's typically going to be in a higher ticket retail, spas, jewelry, those types of things where the transaction's going to be 500 to 5,000 or more, and it's something where the customer is with pretty regularity. You're getting to talk to customers. So that's what I would tell you. Look at those two separate things, and you just got to get out in the marketplace and start looking. If you look for commission sales jobs, there's going to be a lot of them. Most people don't want to take a commission sales job, a commission-only sales job. Most companies love commission-only sales jobs because they don't have any attachment to a salary, right? And then you're going to find companies that kind of fall all over on the spectrum of some base, maybe hourly, minimum wage plus commission, a higher percentage of only commission. But anytime you're looking at anytime you're evaluating a job, this is such an amazing topic. Like, I have shows on this. I think they're called like how to find the right vehicle, or how to find your dream job, or something like that. Great show to go back and rewatch because it talks more in depth about this. But when you're interviewing for a sales job, you want to look for, hey, how many transactions is the average salesperson doing per month? What's the average commission per sale? How many sales people do you have? How long have they been here? And then the big one is, how much money are your current salespeople making? If they can't show you salespeople that are making the type of money that they're promising you, it's a red flag. The business owner is now on the hopes and dreams spin. When we tell you, you can come work and sell for us and you can make 150 grand in your first year, I can go pull W-2s from guys in the back and they'll be like, here's how much I made year one. So you need to make sure that a lot of those things are lining up for you. That's a great question. Super important topic. So spend some time researching that. Go back and check those shows out. It'll be helpful for you. So AAR, acquisition, ascension, retention. Master these three things in your business. Master these three things in your own efforts as a salesperson, and you will make more money. You'll hit your monetary targets faster. And ultimately, if you're doing a good job ascending customers and retaining customers, it's going to be easier for you. Think about that. Making money is actually easy. It gets a lot easier after you do that first thing. So I hope this show helped you out. As always, if you have questions, pop me on Instagram at Jarrod Glant. DM me. I try to answer every question that people send to me. We're always back here, same time, same place. Young Hustlers every Thursday, noon East Coast Standard Time. One more important thing, remember, if you want to get your money right, Grant put together a free training right here in the lower corner, 10xwebclass.com. Check it out. 4 things that changed his perspective on money and actually allowed him to become the super mega wealthy, successful person that he is today. He's sharing it with you for free, unlocking the treasure chest and giving you access to it. 10xwebclass.com. Remember, the only people who condemn the hustle ever are the people who've given up on the hustle themselves. We'll see you next week.
Man, that thing is hot. Hey guys, Grant Cardone here. Have you ever wondered how people, like my whole life, I have been just super intrigued by the wealthy, the people that buy the jet, that live the life. Like, I used to watch these homes on the ocean. I'm like, who owns that home? Who owns that jet? How did they do it? How did they buy it? And I created a training. I spent 35 years codifying what it takes to go from nothing, where I started. I remember when I could not afford one night in a hotel. Not even this nice, and it changed in a second, and it can for you too. Literally, look, just take a look here. Having a girl, okay? The hot chick, great white,
Thank you.
beautiful kids, even a cowgirl, okay?
The cat sat in my hat.
I
which
got
means
2
he's a
kittens
cat
on
cat.
board. We're traveling across the country. The family's gonna go out for a little vacay. I'm gonna be doing some work while I'm out there, but while I'm out there, I wanna help you get what you want. It might not be a jet, maybe it's not a yacht, I don't know, whatever it is. You deserve to have that. And I have laid out a training, step by step, so simple. Regardless of where you are right now, you're in debt, you don't have any money, maybe you don't even have a job. Click the link below. I'm gonna give you this training for free. I wish somebody would have done this for me. I simplify wealth. I simplify how to get money, what to do with it once you get it, and how to multiply it. The most important lesson, how do you multiply it so that someone else, maybe you were serving, someone else you were working for, that money that you receive, you learn how to multiply it so that money works harder than you do. And who knows, maybe you don't get the jet, maybe you don't get the girl, okay? Maybe you don't even want the kids. Maybe you don't want the kids or the kittens, but you get to choose, okay? Click the link below. I want to give you this free training. It's absolutely free. Best part, it's free. The second best part, it will show you step by step what you have to do to get the life you deserve.